Welcome to another episode of ALPS in Brief. This is Mark Bassingthwaighte, and I'm the risk manager with ALPS, and we're recording here in the historic Florence building in beautiful Missoula, Montana. Today I have as a guest Brad Dantic, and Brad is the Vice President and General Counsel of ALPS. And Brad, I was thinking, the purpose of getting together is talking about some exciting changes here at ALPS. And, I admit, as insurance guys, we probably, not everybody would view this as the most exciting topic, but there's some really important, significant changes coming. Over the years, ALPS has really had, in terms of the legal malpractice policies, we've had two policies, what we have referred to as our standard policy and enhanced policy. And this is changing now, and can you kind of just set out the basic groundwork of what has happened, where we're going?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mark. ALPS, we've kind of been a niche specialist in lawyers' professional liability for 30 years. We're endorsed by more state bar associations than any carrier. And so we listen to the legal profession. We listen closely to lawyers. We listen to what they need and what they want. What we've realized is that our products could be better tailored to meet the varying needs of different types of law practices. For example, sole practitioner might need a different type of insurance coverage,
of course,
than a law firm.
Right,
20-member law firm.
Right, makes sense.
So what we've done is we've created 3 policy forms rather than 2.
Okay.
We have the Premier product, our ALPS Premier product, which is the most expansive insurance coverage. Yeah. It might be what I would characterize as industry leading edge. I don't think anybody in the industry is offering a product as comprehensive and as solid as the ALPS Premier policy. Our second policy is the ALPS Preferred policy. The ALPS Preferred policy is comparable to what our standard policy used to be like, but with some enhanced features. And finally, we also offer the ALPS Basic policy. I would characterize the ALPS Basic policy as a policy that provides the most essential level of coverage. If you needed insurance coverage, it is the beginning of insurance coverage for a lawyer.
And I can see, if somebody I think back in the day when I hung up the shingle right after law school, money's tight, and I can appreciate, hey, some coverage is better than no coverage. And so I think that's really where this policy comes into play. It's the starter policy, perhaps, it might be the way to describe it.
Absolutely. And what we've learned in working with state bar associations and the American Bar Association, we've learned that there are a significant percentage of lawyers that are practicing law without insurance.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely.
And as state bars begin to look at uninsured lawyers, they're coming to the realization that perhaps it's important that lawyers maintain at least a basic level of insurance coverage.
Yes. Yeah.
And for those lawyers that are practicing law uninsured, this might be their first and most affordable option for getting the entry into lawyers' professional liability insurance.
Yeah, but it certainly fits a need and a very real legitimate need. Can we talk a little bit about the preferred policy? Can you just fill me in then on what we're doing with it? You've compared it to our historical standard policy, but we've got some enhancements, these kinds of things. What do I get with this policy? Where am I going with it if I'm looking at this?
Sure. Well, again, the ALPS Preferred policy, it's our middle-of-the-road policy.
Yes, right.
The preferred policy is like our standard policy, as you mentioned, and here's what it provides. In any lawyer's professional liability policy, and this has always been the case for ALPS in our 30 years of existence, it is important to look to determine whether or not claim expense allowances are provided under the policy.
Okay.
So when an insurance company undertakes to represent our insured and to defend a claim against our insured, it's important for the insured to understand, are those defense costs being incurred and eroding the limit of liability available to pay damages?
Right.
Or are they being incurred outside the limit of liability?
Right.
ALPS has always provided a claim expense allowance, which makes us unique in the industry and perhaps one of the reasons why we're endorsed by more state bar associations. Under the preferred policy, we offer up to $500,000 in defense costs outside the limit of liability.
Now, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's a nice sum. Yeah, fantastic.
In most instances, we can undertake settle, resolve, defend a claim easily with the $500,000 in claim expense allowance in most cases.
Okay.
We also offer a disciplinary benefit, what I'll call a disciplinary benefit, if a lawyer becomes subject to a disciplinary proceeding, say before a state bar association.
Right.
The preferred policy provides coverage of up to $25,000 per attorney.
Wow.
And if you're in a law firm, multi-attorney law firm, we provide up to $75,000 for the entire policy period, irrespective of the number of attorneys. But perhaps the most significant change that I think ALPS may have made in the course of moving into these new policy forms is we now have moved to a pure consent to settle clause. Under the preferred policy, and you'll find it in the premier policy as well, ALPS will not settle a claim without the consent of our insured.
Now that's got to be somewhat unique in the market.
It is unique in the market. We do see some carriers that provide it. ALPS decided we are going to continue to be industry leading, and so we went to a pure consent to settle clause.
Yeah, very good, very good.
A couple other unique features that I really like about our preferred policy is our extended reporting period options. So if you're somewhat familiar with the lawyer's professional liability insurance industry generally operates on a claims made and reported basis.
Right.
So we provide coverage for claims that are first made and first reported to us during the policy period, irrespective of when the act, error, or omission occurred in the professional services. But when your policy ends, you no longer, if the policy simply ended, you'd no longer have the ability to report claims.
Right. And claims don't come up immediately in our line of work. You know, it's
exactly
it's right.
So it's important to be able to continue to report claims once your policy has expired.
Right.
And so we refer to that as tail coverage,
Okay.
or extended reporting period coverage. Again, I think our ALPS preferred policy offers some of the most expansive extended reporting period options in the industry. If you have been insured with ALPS for at least 5 years as a sole practitioner, we provide a free ERP. If you have been insured in a law firm, you're not a sole practitioner, but you're in a law firm, and you are retiring from the practice of law, we call this feature, you get a free ERP if you've been with us for 5 years. We call it peace of mind, piece of paper.
I love this one.
You want to know that irrespective of whether you're your old law firm, from where you've recently retired, you don't have to worry about them continuing to buy insurance. You can buy from ALPS at the time you retire a free, you're entitled to a free ERP if you've been with us at least 5 years. We also offer free ERPs upon death, upon disability, and I'm unaware of any carrier in the industry offering a free ERP if you're called to active military service. We provide a free ERP in that instance.
Now that one is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just, wow. Okay. Great stuff.
That's kind of a run through of the preferred policy.
Right. So let's take us into the premier then. And, you know, this is, I guess I would describe this as the Cadillac policy of our series here. What am I getting with the enhancements here? Where are we going with this one?
Well, I don't look at it as the Cadillac policy. I look at it as the Lamborghini.
Oh, okay. I'm loving it.
The premier policy is really what it is. I don't believe there's a policy out in the industry today that provides the protections and the benefits that it's available under the premier policy. For example, under the premier policy, you can receive claims defenses, that claim expense allowance,
that we were talking about,
up to $1 million.
Okay.
So we can actually undertake defense and incur defense costs up to $1 million.
Yeah, no, that's some serious coin.
Before the limit of liability begin, the defense costs begin to apply to the limit of liability. We also look to our insured firm. They have the opportunity to weigh in on the appointment of counsel.
Oh,
so they get to participate. We have panels of lawyers that defend claims around the country, but under your premier policy, we'll always consult you as to which firm you'd like.
So you have a little more control here, a little say. Okay.
The disciplinary proceeding benefit. Under the preferred, it's $25,000 per attorney, $75,000 aggregate. Under the disciplinary benefit, on the Premier,
Yes.
it moves to $50,000 per attorney,
Yeah.
$150,000 per firm. And then I think one of the most significant features of the Premier policy, any lawyer buying insurance in the marketplace today needs to understand what is the definition of professional services. What types of services
Right.
or activities that you can engage in, what is covered under that policy. The Premier policy provides the most expansive description of professional services. We include within the definition of professional services, for example, if you're serving as an expert witness,
Yes. Okay.
you're covered. If you are serving as a speaker or an author of legal research or a presenter at a seminar, there is coverage as within the definition of professional services. We cover you if you're a government lobbyist, if you're lobbying on behalf of clients, say before state legislators. We include that within the definition of professional services. So really, the Premier policy provides the most expansive coverage for the types of professional services and activities that are covered.
I'm getting the Lamborghini analogy here now.
And then, of course, it has the pure consent to settle clause. It has the leading industry options on extended reporting periods or tail coverage. We provide a unique feature, I'll call it the reduced deductible feature. Under our Premier policy, if you settle a claim at mediation,
Yes. Okay.
there's a waiver of the deductible up to a particular amount. If you engage, if it's your customary practice to use an engagement letter that's signed by the client, it describes the scope of services that you're going to render.
Yes. Yeah.
It describes the billing arrangements. If you have an engagement letter and a claim arises from that engagement, you are entitled to a reduced deductible, which reduces the amount of money you ultimately have to pay.
Yeah. So we're incentivizing risk management here.
We are absolutely.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we provide some supplementary benefits under the policy, under the Premier policy that you would not find in our other ones. We provide subpoena assistance, for example. We'll pay up to $50,000 for subpoena assistance. So if you or your law firm receive a subpoena for the production of records, we will appoint counsel, and we will pay for that counsel up to $50,000 to assist you in the responding to the subpoena.
Right.
And then of course we have the public relations benefit. I call that if your firm were to incur what we call a public relations event, some disastrous moment in your firm history that causes you to have to engage a public relations consulting firm, we provide some benefits for that under the Premier policy as well. So I've talked a lot about the benefits. Now you understand why I call it the Lamborghini of lawyers' professional liability.
I think that's an apt description. I like that a lot. Well, are there any sort of closing thoughts that you have about this?
No, we're really excited. We've already received approval of these forms in many states. Our plan is to roll it out January 1, 2018. I know the insurance regulators it's been well received by the insurance regulators, and so we're looking forward to offer it in the marketplace and looking forward to continuing to insure lawyers and law firms around the country.
Well, Brad, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for sharing the information. And if any of you have any, in terms of listening to us, if you have any ideas of topics or things that you'd like to hear in future, please don't hesitate letting us know. You can reach me at mbass@alpsnet.com. Thanks for listening, folks.